Does he still clip his fingernails at his desk?
No, that's McPee.
That's McPee.
Ryan would do it too, and then he would take
Oh.
the fingernails and just brush them onto the.
I'm sorry, that's disturbing.
Oh, absolutely.
I still take
That's
pictures of
very
McPee
disturbing.
cutting. I still take pictures of McPee cutting his and send them to Ann. 'Cause-
In the edit bays.
Yes.
I do have a hot mic there.
Here, let me.
Fingernails?
That's happened so many times. Did I just say anything negative about Channel 5? Jane's awesome, Pat's great.
Fingernails are gross.
Fingernails are gross.
I'm sorry.
Did you want to be on camera?
Aren't you so happy you're here for this conversation, by the
Yeah.
way?
General consensus.
Just play mom.
We get some weird people in our business.
Really?
Deja vu.
We gotta stop meeting like this.
Like, yeah, we do.
How you doing? Good.
Stand up here with me, chief.
We didn't expect it to be the next day.
So I had not received the mugshot as a half hour ago, so
All right.
I can email it to everybody.
All right.
Works for us.
Here, shut that back door.
You got him in the rear?
All right, everybody rolling? This past Sunday at 4:15 in the afternoon, 911 received a call from Hurley Security reference a shooting that had occurred at Oxley and Barber Drives in the city of Flint. Hurley Security was reporting that the shooting victim had arrived at the ER by personal vehicle. Through witness statements, it was learned of where the shooting occurred and that the victim, a 16-year-old girl, was in critical condition with a gunshot wound to her face. At Hurley, investigators observed a 2009 Burgundy Chevrolet Impala that turned out to be registered to an 18-year-old woman. The car was parked in front of Hurley's ER entrance and roped off with crime scene tape. The car had what appeared to be a single bullet hole in the rear driver's side window and a large amount of blood on the interior. Witnesses interviewed by investigators said that there were 4 people in the car. The driver and the registered owner of the car, same person, was going apparently to another house to fight another woman. The fight did not occur, as a level-headed adult came out of the house and said there is not going to be any fight. And as they were driving away, our defendant in the case I'm talking to you about said that he had left his phone at the Oxley Drive address. So they drove over to Oxley Drive to retrieve the phone. After locating the phone, the driver and the defendant began to argue, and the driver ordered the defendant out of the car. He exited the car, and once outside of the car, he asked that the car's occupants throw his weed out of the car to him. The driver refused and continued driving. The defendant then raised a black in color pistol, pointed it at the car, and fired 1 shot. The shot went through the rear driver's side window and struck the victim in the face. The driver then drove the car to Hurley Medical Center. The driver consented to a search of her car. Investigators located 1 fired bullet in the front passenger seat. A search warrant was then issued for the suspect's residence, and the suspect was taken into custody. The suspect and now defendant is Jakai Braxton Williams. I'll spell that for you, Jakai Braxton, Braxton, last name Williams, common spelling. Mr. Williams is 18 years old. He's charged with 9 counts Count 1 is assault with intent to murder. The warrant reads on or about May 13th, did make an assault upon, and then we named the victim and the driver of the car, not the victim, the driver, with intent to commit the crime of murder. Sadly, he didn't hit his intended victim, he hit her sister. It's a felony punishable by up to life in prison, and there's an attached felony firearm count to that, which is a mandatory 2 years in prison. There are also 1, 2, 3 other counts of assault with intent to murder and felony firearm counts to attach to those, and the last count is for carrying a concealed weapon. Mr. Williams has been arraigned. He's in the jail. He has a $90,000 cash or surety bond with tether if he posts the bond, and his next court date is May 23rd. I think that covers just about everything. You have questions? Was it clear what happened? Go
Will
ahead.
anyone else in the car be facing charges or that was involved?
Well, the investigation is ongoing, but I don't think anybody else in the car is facing any charges. Essentially what happened is our Mr. Williams got out of the car and he didn't like what had happened. He wanted his weed. He didn't get it, so he fired a shot into the car. He did not hit his intended victim, who was the driver and also someone with whom he has a relationship with. Instead, he hit her 16-year-old sister. The bullet entered her face by the nose and exited under her ear. She's in critical condition at Hurley.
So she remains in critical.
Correct. That's my understanding.
Yesterday, you talked about how it's concerning how many folks are resorting to violence, during an argument or an altercation. Can you speak on the scope of, how an action like this, shooting someone without a gun really can alter somebody's life?
Yeah, I'm baffled about a lot of things involving violence in our community. The first one is, why does an 18-year-old have a gun in the first place? Why does he need to have a gun? Why is that gun on him on a Sunday afternoon while he's riding around in a car? And hypothetically, what are we doing to help juveniles in this community? Hypothetically speaking, say we have a juvenile who's been through the juvenile system. What services did we provide that juvenile so that maybe he's not with a gun on a Sunday afternoon in the city of Flint firing into a car over virtually nothing? The only reason he's firing that gun, according to this investigation, is because they wouldn't throw his weed out of the window and because his girlfriend and he had a spat and she told him to get out of the car. That's no reason to fire a gun back into a car and drastically alter the life of an innocent 16-year-old girl. Somewhere along the way, our juvenile system is dropping the ball. We're not providing the services that we need. This isn't just a Flint or Genesee County issue. This is a statewide problem. Our juvenile justice system is suspect and is falling short in what services it needs to provide young people who may get into a situation where they're in the criminal justice system. We need to be providing way more services so that they don't end up as adults being charged with life felonies. Chief, you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I agree 100% with Prosecutor Leyton. This situation is a prime example of senseless gun violence that police officers throughout the United States are fighting against on a daily basis. It's tying up a lot of resources for police departments that are already strapped for staffing, things of that nature. And here we are with a 16-year-old truly innocent victim that's basically fighting for her life. And this type of senseless gun violence has to end.
One of the things that I believe should be happening for sure is that if somebody who's a juvenile, and the reason I'm saying that is this young man is 18, so he's not a juvenile, but he was a juvenile just a few months ago. And hypothetically, if he had been involved in the juvenile system, did we offer him a gun safety class to teach him about the dangers of having a gun? Are we telling our young people about the dangers? Why is everybody carrying a gun? The reason you get back is, well, it's dangerous out there, and, if everybody else has a gun, so I have to have one too. Well, guess what? These guns that you're carrying for safety are causing innocent 16-year-olds to get shot. They're causing innocent children to die. We have to start doing better.
Is it known whether or not the firearm was legal, or did he get it from maybe a parent? Maybe Chief can talk to that?
Yeah, I don't think we know at this point exactly where this gun came from, but I can speculate and tell you that it's probably an illegally obtained firearm, and sadly, it's not all that difficult to obtain one on the streets.
In a general sense, maybe not with this case, but in the cases that you see involving juveniles or teenagers, how are they getting guns in most cases for firearms?
We've been talking about that around my office for the past months, years, and the answer is young people know where to get illegal guns. Young people know exactly what street corner to go to, or exactly who to ring up on the cell phone, or exactly what storefront to hit to get a gun. It's just a lot simpler to buy an illegal gun than it is to buy a legal gun.
And from the law enforcement, police side, what are you doing to try and, prevent teen juveniles from heading down that path and getting involved with guns, firearms?
Well, we're involved with several community outreach organizations, grassroots organizations, just to deter type activities such as this. But as our Prosecutor Leyton stated, let me reiterate this, and I've said this in the past. Here in Flint, it's easier for a juvenile, a young person, to obtain an illegal firearm than it is to obtain a laptop. That's what we're facing. It's easier to obtain an illegal firearm than a legal laptop. And those are the things we're fighting you against.
And, as the weather is getting warmer right now, we're seeing more people out. Has it seemed like we've seen more, like you say, senseless crimes so far this season?
Well, certainly this week has been a difficult week because I've been here talking about gun crimes to you. And there's more coming, I'm sorry to say. But it happens when the weather gets warmer, that's true. But we just have to do a better job of getting to those kids before they get down the road of destruction. Once you get yourself a gun as a juvenile, nothing good is going to happen. And we need to get to those kids before they make that decision to obtain the illegal firearm. We need to get to those kids before they make the decision to join a street gang. We need to figure out who they are. We need to figure out those kids, what they need to prevent them from making bad decisions. And that's where we've been falling short. And, you need the help of federal government, you need federal assistance, you need state assistance, because the city and the county, we're trying the best we can. And I am in the process of creating a juvenile violent crime reduction task force, and I have a bureau chief who is tasked with getting together a group of people so we can identify the kids at risk, so we can decide what services they need. What I'd really like to do is embed in the City of Flint Police Department a social worker who can meet with those kids so we can talk to those kids and figure out, hey, what's going on with you? And we're trying to put that together, but, limited resource government like county and city, it's not so simple to do. But that's something we're working on right now. I'm not ready to roll it out yet because it's still in the planning stages. But that's what we have to do if we're going to reduce juvenile gun violence in this community.
What do you want juveniles and teens to think about before they pull a trigger or pull a gun?
I want juveniles to think about, don't get the gun in the first place. That gun is going to destroy you. It's not going to protect you. It's going to destroy you. Because even if you use that gun and you use it in what you believe is self-defense, it's not up to you whether it's self-defense. It's up to me. And you don't want me to have to make that decision. The better decision is don't have a gun, Don't put yourself in harm's way. Don't go there. Don't go to where trouble is. Run away from trouble. Don't go towards trouble.
Yesterday, you had mentioned, there's a rise in incidents where there's an altercation that leads to violence. What resources are available now to prevent cases like yesterday's announcement with the hit and run, today's announcement with the 18-year-old shooting a 60-year-old? What resources are available to prevent those incidents?
Well, I know that, the school systems have resources. They have anger management classes, but your question really hits at what I'm talking about, and there's not enough resources, especially for young people, juveniles. I mean, we have a community dispute resolution center that helps people, but a lot of times that's after the fact where something has already occurred. To get to kids ahead of time so that they know there are better ways to resolve disputes than to pull a trigger, that's what we have to start doing, and that's what my proposal for a juvenile crime reduction task force is all about. We good? All right. I am likely to see you again soon.